In the middle of September, clouds were thick over the Klondike, and Tony BEETS, who was king of the Klondike, was in a hurry to reach his 5,000-ounce goal. His trial didn't lead to anything, though. After finding this scary thing during the gold rush, is Tony BEETS' life over? Let us find out. It looked like a big problem as soon as they started digging, but Tony was still hopeful. His main goal was the 80 pup cut, where more than 500 oz of channel gold had just been found. As long as Tony could keep the gold coming in, the veins looked good and paid well. Tony only had 900 ounces though, and the weather was making his plans fail. As it rained, the field turned into a messy mess. No matter what, Tony, who was used to being in charge, couldn't help but think about how it would affect their work. He knew just how dangerous it was, and now he had to face a new truth. This man's drive really moves me, but this task was a lot bigger than his. Tony had already planned to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 weeks ago. This showed how determined he was to get through anything that stood in his way. He did things like double the flow of water from the trommel to fit in with the area. It was definitely an even bigger risk. It was a simple goal: get more gold. Tony was responsible for things that happened earlier in the year because he was always eager. Still, the settling ponds weren't strong enough, and there were already signs of trouble there. Over the radio, the team said that several dikes had been broken. Tony had to make a tough choice. He had to shut down the business so he could raise and secure the dikes. In the gold rush, it took a lot of time to make the move that had to be made. They worked hard and sweated to keep water from getting where it shouldn't, because the 80 pup cut had to happen right away. Once more, the water levels were going up and Tony was against them. He couldn't let the weather decide how much money he made in mines. He told you very clearly that you shouldn't mess with your ponds. Tony told his team that they needed to start working on the project right away. Nick, a trustworthy member of Tony's team, was told to keep a close eye on this needless piece next to the pump. It never stopped raining, and the water kept coming. Tony clearly cared a lot about the dikes, and everyone needed to move quickly. He thought about how hard things were for them, and was afraid that he would sink. I believe that being patient and alert are the best things to do in this case. Nature was fighting back, and Tony was in the middle of it all. It became clear that looking for gold wasn't a fun game of cleaning bright little chunks on the patio. It was a battle with time, the weather, and AM's moods that were always changing. When I think about these problems, I can't help but wonder, will Tony BEETS be able to get to his 5,000-ounce gold goal? Of course, the 80 pup had its own sparkle, but rain and rising water were against him, so his chances were not good. He was fighting to stay alive while the sound of machines could still be heard all over the area. Their digger got stuck in a settling pond. Tony knew that they would lose a lot of money every day if this big machine couldn't do its job. They had no choice but to stop. Sure, it was a bother, a huge trouble, and there was no doubt that the digging would have to stop until the problem was fixed. But Cousin Mike found a way to make things better. He tried his best when he got there in the morning, but his digger ended up going straight into the water. This caused more trouble. Tony and 2 other excavators went on an emergency rescue because they needed to find a way to help. They worked very hard, but it didn't help. It was time for troops, and Tony didn't think twice about sending in the 18T D6 dozer and the huge 115T D1. The question then was how to get that refuse-to-move backhoe out of the bog. Tony made a plan that worked perfectly because he had been digging for a long time. The first thing that had to be done was to pump out the water. To do this, the D6 dozer, a big piece of machinery, was used to push fine tailings into the pit and make a ramp. The plan was to level the ground under the stuck digger so that the big wrestler could pull it out. The colossal 115T D1 850 horsepower rescue mission star was then sent out on patrol to see if it could help. Tony came up with a way for the D11 to drive up onto the strengthened ramp, making a base for this big machine to stand on. The goal was clear: get the 220 loaders out of the mud. It was clear that things were very bad and that time was running out. But each choice came with a price. Tony BEETS knew what the risks were and thought about how to fix the problem. I couldn't help but wonder if Tony's plan would work. When the engine started to roar and the machine started to turn, everyone had to help out. This was a battleground between people and nature. It was not easy to get a digger out of the ground. It was also hard to deal with things that didn't go as planned and gain skills and experience in the tough world of gold mine. The loss that Tony BEETS was going through could be heard throughout the mines. The water had to be pumped out so that the digger could be taken out. It surely acted as a challenge to the muddy swamp of crisis that had caught Tony's mining business. Tony Beets, on the other hand, was not the type of person to give up. He thought they were going to get a little further along. I think things were starting to get better. The screen showed scenes of relief workers getting the stuck digger out of the way. The D6 dozer was hired to move the tailings, and a simple ramp was built to help with the rescue. They had to walk a fine line between machines and nature, and Tony Beets was determined to be in charge of it. The setting pond became less like a bog as the plan moved forward. He noticed that things were going in the right way. Exploring this swampy area visually also showed how hard things were for the workers on Paradise Hill. As the work with the backhoe went on, I couldn't help but wonder if this was another waste of Tony Beets' time. On top of that, the constant enemy Klondike weather has already slowed down work on Paradise Hill for a whole week. Even though things were getting tougher, Tony was still focused on his 500-ounce goal and stayed positive. Earlier, the backhoe problem caused them to lose about 2 hours of work. It looked like Mike's cousin was to blame because he drove the digger into the mud by accident. When Tony replied, he didn't mince words and said that Mike was stuck because the other person wasn't paying attention. With an operation being held up and a digger getting lost, will Tony Beets and his crew be able to bounce back? It was clear to him that some of his problems were caused by not paying attention to certain things. Some people made the situation funny by telling him he had to describe everything in English, Dutch, or Finnish. The task of rescuing Tony from tough situations naturally improved Tony's engineering skills. As the show goes on, all we can do is admire how strong Tony Beets and his team are. Tony Beets had to deal with this horrifying discovery. Could he get past it, or was it really the end for him? They were going to weigh the gold to see if they had reached their goal. Tony Beets was kind of riding a number-based roller coaster. It meant a huge amount, and the number of ounces meant even more. As they moved through the mine area, 9 diggers called out the count, 10, 30, and so on to keep the family on track. Some buyers saw that number as a sign of hope, but Tony would need more than 300 ounces to reach his goal. The count then got tense, 240, 250, 260. As he and the others went through rock after rock, the numbers kept going up, from highs to ever higher peaks. In their whole mining project, they were either right or wrong. The ounces kept coming, 350, 360, and more. In 1987, more than $500,000 was made. It was worth $850,000, taking their total to 4,006 ounces. They worked very hard for 6 days and got a great result. The 80 pups crops helped with the success in some ways. Even though Tony knew that, at least they knew what 80 pup could do. Things have been going well with that for a while now. Tony looked into the future to see if he could get an even better number. That's why it didn't matter if they had to sling for a day. As long as gold was flowing, that was what mattered. The gunslingers didn't have any trouble with it. It was clear that they were successful, and Tony could only say that if it paid well, then it was fine. It was very hard to understand, and I was afraid that the weather would get in the way of Tony's plans. Tony was pretty happy with the outcome. It was so clear that the characters were friends and had achieved success together that it made me feel like I could relate to the miners who were fighting nature to get gold. At least for now, the never-ending search for gold has paid off. Watch my older movies if you want to learn more about how the world is changing all the time. The Beets family faces a race against time as they try to extract dirt from the frozen mining cut. But as the temperature rises, so do their challenges. Would they be able to fix their problems in time for the day's mine, or would they go back home disappointed? Stay tuned to find out. In the heart of the operation, Kevin Beets finds himself battling a mechanical breakdown in one of the trucks. With the fleet frozen, their efficiency takes a hit, and the pressure is on. He complains sadly about the amount of time they have wasted and how important it is for the continuity of their show that the trucks get back on track. He says that if they don't fix the truck as soon as they can, they will be seriously behind their schedule. Meanwhile, the relentless Ruby Mahoney is digging deep, uncovering signs of gold in the soil. The promise of hitting the fabled white channel page keeps the team motivated, but challenges persist. Back at the truck, Kevin faces another breakdown, putting operations on hold. The radio crackles with urgency as the team scrambles to fix the issues and keep the tight schedule intact. Again, Kevin complains about how hard it is coping with the excesses of the rock, breaking down from time to time without any signs. He emphasizes the need for the trucks to be back in action ASAP. The mining team, despite setbacks, presses on with determination. Tony BC takes charge, strategizing to salvage the situation and keep the mining operation on track. Like Kevin, Tony sees how important it is for them to avoid any more setbacks. Time is of the essence if they want to make the quota for the day. He rallied the team, and soon enough, the machines began to work and they began to set the ball rolling. Over at the wash plant, Fred Lewis seeks guidance from Parker. Equipment issues threaten to compromise Fred's gold production target for the season. Fred and Parker talk about the issues they have with their equipment and the urgent need for a solution, because if they don't find a remedy to this problem, they may not be able to continue with the series. Fred makes the tough call to shut down the wash plant, creating doubt about the viability of reaching the season's gold target. The team, however, remains determined. At that, just when the morale of the workers seem to have been given a little push, another problem strikes. Dave encounters difficulties with a jammed tail pulley, causing another setback. The team works tirelessly to resolve the issue and resume operations. Amidst the challenges, a potential gold discovery in a broken rock renews hope for Dave's team. Despite setbacks, the miners remain committed to overcoming obstacles for a successful season. Dave's confidence, and that of the other miners, is renewed by the discovery, despite the hiccups they encountered. He is sure that they will strike gold more than they have ever struck before. In a bold move, Fred Lewis decides to tackle the frozen creek obstructing their mining claim. Facing an icy barrier, the team orchestrates a plan involving a massive pump to melt the ice. The risky operation requires careful navigation, and Fred, tethered to a safety rope, takes the plunge into the unknown. The team successfully activates the pump, spraying a powerful stream of water onto the frozen creek. As the water penetrates the ice, Fred cautiously makes his way across, ensuring the safety of the crew. While the ice slowly yields to the relentless force of the water, concerns arise among the crew. The unpredictability of the situation and the potential risks weigh heavily on their minds. Instead of getting worried and worked up, the crew members enjoy the rush, excitement, and anxiety of the whole season. Their utmost hope, however, is that everything goes according to plan. After hours of vigorously battling the frozen barrier, the team's perseverance pays off. The pump successfully carves a path through the ice, allowing them access to the vital equipment on the other side. With the creek conquered, Fred's team regains access to crucial equipment, and mining operations resume. The victory over the icy challenge injects a renewed sense of determination into the crew as they push forward, undeterred by the harsh Alaskan conditions. As the crew returns to mining operations, they encounter a series of challenges that put their skills and machinery to the test. Faulty equipment and unexpected shutdowns become a recurring theme, threatening the efficiency of the entire operation. The pressure is on as they strive to extract as much gold as possible within a limited time frame. Amidst the chaos, expert operator Ruby Mahoney emerges as a key player. With tenacity and determination, she tirelessly operates the machinery, digging deeper into the cold soil in pursuit of the elusive gold. Ruby's expertise becomes a beacon of hope, providing the team with a glimmer of success in the challenging conditions. Meanwhile, Tony's son Mike leads the charge in a massive effort to strip 700,000 tons of dirt from the cold coat. The goal is to hit Paradise Hill's fabled White Channel Pay within a week. A breakthrough moment occurs as they discover what appears to be the distinctive iron-stained yellow soil, a potential indicator of gold-rich ground. The urgency escalates as unexpected setbacks plague the operation. Kevin, Tony's chief mechanic, faces the challenge of keeping the fleet of rock trucks in working order. With multiple breakdowns and a critical shortage of essential parts, the team is forced to make crucial decisions on the fly, further intensifying the race against time. With the clock ticking, Mike beats strategies to maximize the extraction of dirt from the cold coat. The ambitious goal of hitting Paradise Hill's White Channel Pay within a week requires a relentless pursuit of efficiency. The BEETS family invests everything they have, mobilizing their resources to ensure the success of this high-stakes endeavor. The pressure intensifies as Tony's chief mechanic, Kevin Beets, faces a mechanical nightmare. The rock trucks, essential for hauling dirt, face constant breakdowns, each one threatening to derail the entire operation. Kevin's mechanical prowess is put to the ultimate test as he battles missing bolts, broken parts, and a relentless race against time. The turning point arrives as expert operator Ruby Mahoney uncovers signs of gold in the cold coat. The distinctive yellow soil, coupled with rounded riverbed rocks, suggests the presence of gold-rich ground. The discovery ignites a spark of hope, fueling the team's determination to persist in their quest for the legendary White Channel Pay. Meanwhile, mine boss Fred Lewis faces a critical decision. Despite dealing with faulty equipment, Fred remains committed to mining the challenging terrain. However, the gold yields fall significantly short of the targeted 60 ounces per week. Faced with financial challenges and an uncertain future, Fred contemplates the viability of continuing the operation. In a surprising turn of events, Parker Schnabel, a seasoned gold miner, offers his insights to Fred Lewis. Parker, passing by the Lewis mining site on his way to his Alaskan claims, provides valuable advice on the challenges Fred's operation is facing. The encounter sparks a moment of reflection for Fred as he grapples with the complexities of the Alaskan gold mining season. As Kevin BEETS battles the mechanical challenges, the urgency to overhaul the rock trucks intensifies. With several bolts missing and crucial components breaking down, the fleet faces a major setback. Kevin, along with the team, engages in a marathon of repairs, welding, and replacements, determined to bring the trucks back into operational condition. Mike BEETS takes a calculated risk by leaving the critical mining site to fetch additional trucks from the Indian. Betting on a swift return, Mike leaves the operation in the hands of the remaining crew members. The decision is a high-stakes gamble, hoping that the gain in truck numbers will outweigh the potential loss in operational momentum during his absence. Tony BEETS faces a managerial dilemma as the mining operation grapples with unexpected breakdowns and delays. With a third of the rock trucks out of action due to mechanical issues, Tony contemplates alternative plans. The need to balance immediate solutions with long-term strategies puts Tony in a tight spot, testing his leadership in the face of adversity. Expert operator Ruby Mahoney becomes the unsung hero as she embarks on a relentless digging marathon. Working day and night, Ruby pushes the machinery to its limits, determined to reach the fabled White Channel pay. Her unwavering commitment sets the tone for the entire team, instilling a sense of hope and determination amidst the challenging conditions. Fred Lewis finds himself at a crossroads as the challenges mount. With only 118 ounces of gold, well short of the targeted 500 ounces for the season, Fred contemplates the harsh reality. The race against time becomes more pressing as winter looms, adding a layer of complexity to the already challenging decision-making process. The unforgiving Alaskan wilderness continues to throw curveballs at the miners, from mechanical breakdowns to managerial dilemmas and the relentless pursuit of gold. The unpredictable nature of the terrain tests the resilience, adaptability, and sheer determination of each team member. As they navigate through the twists and turns, the outcome remains uncertain, making every decision a critical turning point in the quest for Alaskan gold. The mining drama continues, with each twist and turn testing the miners' resilience and determination. Will their collective efforts lead them to the golden bounty they seek, or will the challenges prove insurmountable? Stay tuned for the next thrilling chapter of Gold Rush: Trials of the Thaw. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this roller coaster journey through the Alaskan wilderness.